Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. So, yes, we're going to get into a lot. Yesterday, I went live twice talking about the Diddy trial, hot topics, trending topics. And then last night, we also went live and we were talking about the Tyler Perry situation. So, we're going to get into a few things. Allow me time to get into my disclaimer, um, do what I need to do on this end. But thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel, you guys. I appreciate y'all. We got into a lot of tea last night in regards to the Tyler Perry situation, and it's a lot. We had just said yesterday and the day before, who's next? What's going on? What's going to be alleged? And like I said, in regards to Tyler Perry, it's allegations. He's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Just like the Diddy situation, he's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But a judge jury is going to have to decide if Diddy is at fault in what's being reported. So let's go ahead and get to the disclaimer. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged in our opinion and for entertainment purposes only. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you all. I do. I appreciate you all. Okay. So we got through the disclaimer. We're going to do and talk about what's going on in regards to Diddy. There's been a lot of concerns because a lot of people don't know. There was concerns Wednesday, slight delays. There was concerns Thursday, sidebars, attorneys talking. There was concerns in regards to them seeking a mistrial, in regards to the juror being dismissed. Now there's concerns in regards to if one of the jurors got a message from an unknown person. Now there may be another concern this morning if one of the jurors is not alleged feeling well. I'm going to be general. Because that's what I do over here because I'm not trying to out anybody or give information I'm not supposed to give. But that's what I'm hearing. So we're going to update you guys on what's being talked about, what's being reported, and get into other stuff. But I hope everyone's having a great morning. And it's interesting because I almost tried to go live on StreamYard. I don't know what's going on, but I might have to figure it out. I have to have different avenues to be able to go live. So going live here, we're going to update you guys on Diddy, the trial, and what's going on. So yesterday, many people were talking about that there was concerns in regards to the judge speaking to the attorneys yesterday. Allegedly, this is another concern. Something was leaked, and it was leaked where the judge was able to see this is sealed documents. This should not even be a part of the article. People should not even know. And it has nothing to do with YouTubers and has nothing to do with reporters. But there was an article that was released to a publication. Okay. The judge was not happy. He had everybody get out of the courtroom in regards to media, in regards to YouTubers. He basically was speaking to the attorneys and saying, you guys have to understand, we can't have leaks. So there's a lot that's going on. And we talked about that. The concerns, the distractions, all the mistrials, seeking a mistrial, his bond getting denied. I'm not surprised that there's a lot of chaos. The judge is going through a lot, trying to reel everything in. The concerns with the juror, the messages in regards to a juror. If allegedly there's another issue this morning in regards to a juror, there's a lot going on. So there was issues yesterday. There's issues this morning. I'm not surprised. We're almost towards the end and there's so many issues, but we're going to get through some clips. I'm going to update you guys. Like the videos you guys come in. Can you hear me okay? Press 3 if you're new, where you're watching from. Press 3 if you're new, where you're watching from. Press 5 if you've been here before and where you're watching from. And let me know, press 1 if you can hear me okay. And if you're watching from a phone, double tap that screen to hit the like. You can hear me. Okay. Hello, Mark. Hello, hello, hello. So continue to hit the like button. There's about 127 in the building. If you're watching from a phone, double tap that screen, you guys. Let's get the likes up. I have 0 likes. What's up? Okay, let's get the likes up. There's about 100 and something in the building. All you got to do is double tap that screen. Let's get the likes up so we can get to this video. If everybody can double tap that screen. I can tell that most of my views are from a phone or a tablet. If people are watching from a TV, it's not as easy to hit the like, but it's there. Yeah, let's get the likes up. Real quick, double tap at the screen. And also subscribe. Thank you guys for subscribing a lot for the last 2 days. We've been bringing y'all to TTT. Yes, good morning, good morning. Okay, well, you know what? If you could do better, go on your page. I went from 3,000 subscribers to almost 38K. So we're doing well over here. Take your negative behind somewhere else. Good morning. Guess who's been up since 6? Remember last night I was like, I'm exhausted. I've been up since 6. Yes, Paris. Good morning. So, yeah, and we definitely trying to get to that yard. I like my yard a certain way. I like my yard a certain way. And there's possible rain and heat. So stuff, you know me, stuff has to get done when it has to get done. So yeah, I am up early. Okay, you guys. So we're going to get to updates in regards to the trial. One of my favorites is on News Nation. And there's going to be less cursing. Remember yesterday, the video we was listening to, there was a lot of cursing. It's like, hold up. We don't do cursing over here. But I really like her commentary because she brings it home. Yes, greetings, everyone. Are you surprised I'm up? I am. Because I literally I took a quick nap for like 30 minutes. I wait, I want to go live at 8:30. I want to go live at 9. I want to go live at 9:30. And then it was interesting because I was trying to find out who was live. And it's like, okay, let me see what's going on in the courtroom before people go in, go out. That's how we found out that there was concerns about the judge saying, I got to talk to these attorneys. I am going to take a good nap. I ain't gonna lie. Once everything gets done, I'm a stickler for getting stuff done. But yeah, that's how we found out that there was concerns yesterday morning before I went live because I was listening to credible sources in regards to things that was going on yesterday. So we're going to get to that. Let's do some updates. Last night we did a live about the allegations in regards to Mr. Perry. And like I said, it's just allegations. I can't confirm or deny what's being reported, but there are different allegations that's going on in regards to him. Okay, so we're going to listen to a quick video in regards to News Nation, and she actually has Armand on News Nation. He's one of my favorite. Armand breaks down, and I get how he speaks. There's no confusion. He speaks well. I understand. There's other people, I can be listening to them for 7 minutes, and I be like, girl, if you don't get to it, I can't. So my page goes a little fast. So you got to be able to keep up. Some of the videos go a little fast because I have to play them that way. But one of Armand is one of my favorites. So if you don't know, Armand had spoke to one of the FOs who had met up allegedly with who's on trial. I'm going to be real gentle today. I'm doing good. Who's on trial. So he had a video Sunday, night. And then he did a video in regards to letting us know that there was some court concerns. So he's been updating us really good. Now, today, he is speaking with News Nation. So this is going to be a real good key. Armand is really great at updating. And see, this is the amazing thing. Clock this, T. I told y'all Armand was doing good. He's been doing interviews. And I told y'all Mims was doing good. He's been going to Mims' page. He's been doing really, really good too. So I'm so proud of YouTubers that I told y'all and check them out, and they've been doing good. So there's certain ones I'm proud of, and they've been doing extremely good. And remind you, our page gets millions of views in a 30-day period. Millions. So it's an amazing thing. Some of my favorites are doing well. I'm gonna shout you out if you're doing well. And I don't do YouTube beef. So I'm proud of Armand. So let's go ahead and get to this video. Let me cue it up. I normally wait till after a 10-minute period because of how YouTube is. So we're at a 10-minute period. Let's get to it. Ooh, wait. But yeah, so proud of Mims and Arman. Okay, so let's cue this up. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy you're here, Paris, because it's probably early for you. Okay, so let's get to it. You're on the same time zone as one of my favorites guys out there. Okay, hold on. What is going on? Come on, come on.
What's worse than being forced to watch Diddy's freak-off tapes? Being forced to watch them twice. I feel for those jurors. They were chosen to sit in judgment of Diddy, but that's what they had to endure today. Only this time, Diddy's lawyers were the ones making them watch the tapes. Yesterday, it was the prosecution.
Okay.
Special Agent DeLeasa Penland showed more than 15 minutes of Diddy's porn, different segments from yesterday's tapes, and the jurors and the lawyers all had to wear headphones because, yeah, nobody else could see the screens, just the jurors, just the people involved in the case, the lawyers at defense table, and at the prosecution table, judge, right, Diddy too. But Diddy was allowed to watch videos from side room during the morning hours. So imagine being a fly on the wall in there. The reason that his lawyers are showing the tapes again is because they're trying to prove that the sex that these people are having to watch on tape, all that kinky business, that was consensual, they say. Especially, when Diddy's lawyers could remind the jury.
And it confirms many of the women's testimony that alleged dated him. Let's continue fair use reaction clip.
Of text messages from Cassie like this one, quote, "I'm always ready." But the feds say this wasn't kink, it was commerce, complete with a system and a playbook. And they showed dozens of receipts for flights and escorts and hotels that were paid for by Puffy's business. Jury was also shown what happened after that now infamous 2016 hotel beating video. There was a barrage of text messages to Cassie. Diddy writing, "I'm about to..."
Okay, let's also say this, you guys. Let's take a step back. Do you guys recall when Cassie was on that video? Do you understand? She allegedly had a major premiere, allegedly, for her movie. It's interesting that Cassie might have wanted to leave the FO to get ready for the next day. It's very interesting that he created so much drama when she's supposed to have her moment. Catch that tea, Paris. Anytime Cassie has a good friend, he wants them removed. Anytime she has a major premiere, she's allegedly at the premiere with concerns on her body that she has to cover it up with makeup. I thought about that. This dude is crafty. She's about to have an amazing moment, and instead of him celebrating that, she's allegedly at an FO, and she's trying to leave, and he did that. And if you're listening to the testimony, because I often do, I listen to either the transcripts or what they're saying in regards to court. Cassie was saying to KK, "This is supposed to be an amazing day for me, and I don't want to move. I don't want to get up out of bed." It's sad that her special moment and the day before, there was drama and conflict. Watch the play. He loves drama, conflict. Her moment was the next day. She probably wanted to leave to get ready. When you're a beautiful woman like Cassie, a beautiful thing is to get a lot of rest because there's press, there's questions. She was supposed to have an amazing day because of that movie she was in. So she might have wanted to leave because of just saying, "I just need my rest." And then she's texting KK saying, "KK, I'm so upset what happened last night. This is an amazing day for me, and I don't even want to get up out of bed." That could have been a mind mess up for her. And mind you, he's texting her saying, "I could possibly go to jail. Answer my calls, Cassie." And that was false. So Cassie's moment, big moment. And here he is calling her, having her do an FO. And mind you, they had said it's the holiday season. It does not seem like he spent one of these Christmases with her. But then over the Christmas weekend, he said, "Do you want to do an FO?" Not having her around the family for Christmas, but let's do an FO. Crafty, crafty, crafty. You got to watch the play because there's certain people that aren't thinking of the time frames that everything is happening. But in court, they're talking about Cassie is texting KK saying, "I'm so upset. My moment is tomorrow." And here we are having an FO. I'm being pulled. There's a video. There's allegations. I'm on the phone trying to get help. and I'm being what we saw in the video. Cassie's big day. And remember, people were talking about Cassie's concerns and her having to cover it up with makeup. Why would he have her allegedly do an FO the week of her premiere of her movie? Let's just say it's the week of. Let's not say maybe it's not the next day. Maybe it's the day after. But it was around that time and people saw the concerns. Ashley. People saw the concerns and they saw that she had to allegedly cover up. Now, as time go on, you got to recover up those concerns. So I got to watch the words I'm using, but y'all understand what's transpiring. And then many men were allegedly supporting him. But then once they saw that video, they was like, "No, man, you can't be doing that. Because if that was my daughter, if that was my niece, if that was my mama, you can't be doing that." So let's get to the video. I had to make that clear because I had the correlation of her having a big moment and he's getting his needs alleged fulfilled for that week. Okay. So if I'm right that her premiere was the next day, she probably wanted to get her rest. And here it is, drama the day before or the week of. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Be arrested, which was not true, and call me please over and over and over again. Days later, he texted her, "Baby, I can't say it enough, I'm so sorry." To which Cassie responded, quote, "I still have crazy bruising from Friday. When you get effed up the wrong way, you always want to show me that you have the power and you knock me around. I'm not some ragdoll.
See?
I'm somebody's child." Government also showed evidence of a cover-up behind the scenes. Staff members trying to scrub hotel security footage.
Let me go back. See, I just said that.
It takes again is because they're trying to prove that the sex that these people are having to watch on tape, all that kinky business, that was consensual, they say. Especially, when Diddy's lawyers could remind the jury of text messages from Cassie like this one, quote, "I'm always ready." But the feds say this wasn't kink, it was commerce, complete with a system and a playbook. And they showed dozens of receipts for flights and escorts and hotels that were paid for by Puffy's business. Jury was also shown what happened.
Hold on. They're about to tell y'all he's contacting Cassie, just like I said. He's contacting her and lying, saying he's going to go to jail, and that wasn't true.
Hotel beating video. There was a barrage of text messages to Cassie. Diddy writing, "I'm about to be arrested," which was not true.
See?
And "call me please," over and over and over again.
See?
Days later, he texted her, "Baby, I can't say it enough, I'm so sorry." To which Cassie responded, quote, "I still have crazy bruising from Friday. When you get effed up the wrong way, you always want to show me that you have the power and you knock me around. I'm not some ragdoll. I'm somebody's child."
See?
Government also showed evidence of a cover-up behind the scenes. Staff members trying to scrub hotel security footage of the beating. Diddy's chief of staff, this lady here, Christina Courtroom, texting an assistant, quote, "Say they had a fun, drunk night." And, quote, "He wants to talk to the Spanish security guard," end quote. And here is the list of hotel damage receipts. $500 for the drapes, $950 for deep cleaning, $46,786,000 for quote-unquote penthouse damage. I don't think I've ever seen a bill like that. $46,786 for penthouse damage. All of it apparently paid through Diddy's companies, which according to the government makes it a pattern of illegal and coerced sex paid for and carried out by Diddy's enterprise, aka racketeering and sex trafficking. But before all of that even started, the judge lit into both of the sides in the courtroom, angry about immediately.
Okay, so she's about to go over what happened yesterday morning. Listen, fair use reaction clip. Yeah, with all these receipts. And for people to say, "I don't see it," you don't want to see it. Some people don't want to see it because they may have alleged a legal background. People may not want to see it, and that's cool. People may not have the wherewithal to understand what's really going on, but I give y'all a breakdown so you do understand. So we're about to go through what happened yesterday morning. Listen up.
About that new juror that just got on the panel yesterday, and the judge is threatening contempt and phone seizures. He's super mad. My next guest was in the courtroom for all of it. Arman Wiggins is a journalist and author who moved to New York just to cover this trial, which he breaks down on his YouTube show and podcast, The Arman Wiggins Show. Arman, welcome back to the show. Good to have you again. Dang, it was spicy.
Go over to Arman's show, subscribe, let him know that Let's Talk About It Media 21 sent y'all. And I've been praising him to do well. He's been doing well. I was there around the time when he took that picture with Kanye. And that's still posted on his Instagram. So go over there, let him know we sent y'all. Fair use reaction clip.
That courtroom today.
Yes, hi, first of all, hello, Ashley. It's always a good time coming on here, so I'm excited to be here. So,
Me too. I'm excited to have you, especially, you had a front row seat. Like I can write about it. You can speak, firsthand about it.
Yeah, everything that you said was true. We walked in that courtroom today. The judge was not having it. He was upset with the prosecution, and he was upset with the defense because apparently they put out sealed exhibits to some sort of media, and that got published. Now, we didn't know what the article was or what media company, put it out, but they were not happy. And the judge was saying, listen, this is your warning because one of you guys are lying. So this is your warning. But if this happens again, you guys are going to be subjected to witness testimony and could be facing criminal or civil charges.
Well, and this judge seems to be pretty, level-headed, even-keeled. So to hear him raise his voice, that must really have meant something to these parties. Talk to me about the tapes. I can't imagine look, not everybody wants to watch Diddy's sex tapes, right? Not everybody wants to. And I get this feeling that watching those jurors, having to watch those tapes, you probably could tell that people didn't want to be there.
I'm going to be honest with you. From yesterday to today, listen, I was trying to listen hard to see what was going on. So the first day, they played the tapes, and we're sitting in the gallery, obviously. So they turn up all the monitors so we can't hear it, or we can't see it. But we could hear a little bit. Now, the first day, it was a little awkward because you could hear some moaning, and you heard the sex music.
And it's funny because Arman was saying there was people around him that were talking, and then he was trying to listen in. So it was funny how he was in the courtroom trying to listen and people around him was talking. And then finally a lady looks at the man that was talking and she looked at him, then he sat up and he stopped talking. So the look of a woman, baby. But yeah, Arman talked about that being in the courtroom and how some of the jurors were kind of not making too many facial expressions. Other people said there was a little facial expressions from the women slightly, but the men were just in tune. So let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
You kind of hear some things. You couldn't really make out what was going on, but you could tell it was definitely a freak off happening. Now, today, the volume was just a little bit louder, and you could hear some kind of talking and stuff. A bailiff ended up coming out and saying, hey, Judge, they have the headphones too close to the microphone. We can hear everything. So they ended up turning down the headphones. However, when you took a look at the jury stand, because we're trying to figure out what's happening, what's happening with the jurors, I'm trying to find any motion in the face. There was a particular woman, older lady. She wasn't going for it. She wasn't happy to see it each day. She was extremely uncomfortable. You could see it in her face. She would try to kind of cover her mouth sometimes and cover her face, but the look of disgust, she couldn't avoid it. You've seen it every time. She did not want to be there. She did not want to be looking at those tapes. There was another guy that was, as he would watch the tapes, as they would play different tapes, he would snatch his headphones off and in a way all right, I'm done. Whereas other people would kind of just sit and kind of endure and wait until, the next tape got played. But he would snatch his headphones off. And there was one guy, I was really watching him though, because he'd kind of sit back, and kind of watch it. But then when it would get good or interesting, I don't know if it ever got good, but something that you would kind of be all right, let me look at this a little bit more. You would kind of see him move a little bit, and he would kind of really get a little bit closer. And then at one point, he even started looking around in a way to be are y'all seeing what I'm seeing?
Right.
So I zeroed in on him for a while. So, and at that moment, you could kind of look around the rest of the jury pool and see that everybody was intently looking at these tapes. So I'm imagining there was a lot going on those tapes today.
I feel like it would be embarrassing too, right? Because
that's a lot to have to sit on a juror and watch that, and you're not getting paid a lot. And then the security and the police have to tell you got to cut it down because we can slightly hear. So that's interesting that some of the women wanted to cover their face. Some of the men were taking the headphones off, then putting them back on. That's a lot more reactions than we heard. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. It's a lot. It's a lot. But we got to put it out there because Hollywood needs to be exposed. It's a concerning thing as people that are billionaires think they won't get caught. And you have to have a certain kind of open, honest concerns about yourself. Let me tell y'all this. I was trying to go to sleep, couldn't go to sleep. So then I was listening to a podcaster talk about the Tyler Perry and the Diddy situation in regards to, is it wrong to want to date somebody you're working with? Yeah, there's a code of ethics. There's HR. There's laws in regards to what you can and can't do. And it just made me look at them in a different way. There's a code of ethics that you have to follow. Any workplace should be a safe workplace. You shouldn't have to worry about trying to get a promotion. If you choose to date somebody on the job, maybe you should quit and go somewhere else. But if people find out, because a person could get promotion for dating you, but he acted like there's no code of conduct. He acted like there's not an HR issue. And if there's concerns about somebody touching you, trying to have you sleep with them, it's like, what are you talking about? Maybe they were on substances last night, because I was like, there's no way you really think that way. A man or woman should not have to sleep with an employer for advancement, or a man or woman shouldn't have to be pressed to sleep with. There's too many people in the world. You shouldn't be pressing up on your employees. Real talk. That's a concern. So let's continue. So it's unfortunate that the jurors had to listen to what the FOs were about. I'm grossed out for them. Sorry. Let's continue fair use reaction clip. And then the next day, they tried to bring it back into Cassie on what she was willing to allegedly do. So let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Oh, you're watching something that's just so incredibly personal. And maybe some of these jurors feel like they're watching.
Yeah, he took it off for a bit. It was almost too much for him, even for a man. So you can imagine if the woman was trying to cover her mouth and cover her eyes, it was too much. It was too much. It was too much for them. That visual is never going to get out their head. Ugh, I can't. Ugh, let's continue. I couldn't do it.
Assaulted as opposed to somebody who's willing.
Good morning.
So there could be a lot of discomfort, and God, imagine just they're watching porn, and there's other people who know that. There's an entire gallery watching porn. So I can't imagine the awkwardness. Real quickly tomorrow, Brendan Paul. He came onto the stand today and he got immunity.
Okay, Brendan Paul is the mule that was traveling with Diddy when the raid happened. Let's continue fair use. He's supposed to hit the stand probably today.
So tomorrow he's going to testify. What are we expecting from him? It better be big because he's one of the final witnesses.
Honestly, okay, really quick. So I think that it's pretty much done because, from what they showed today, that streamline of receipts with the hotels and the text messages and the videos. I mean, the summary witnesses did their thing today for the prosecution. Now, Brendan, we know him to be the drug mule that got arrested. So, he's honestly the glorified Louis Vuitton bag, just made a human being at this point. So he was the guy that carried all the drugs for Diddy. So I don't see this getting any better for Diddy. I think that this will be the cherry on top that goes ahead and seals the deal.
Of course, all of it allegations until there's a verdict. And my goodness, I think I heard they might be deliberating as early as next week. I'll believe it when I see it. Arman, you got to come back. Thank you for this.
Thank you so much.
So he did really well. Did y'all hear the breakdown of the receipts of the money that was spent? Fair use reaction clip. Please subscribe. There's about 318 in the building. If I can please get 300 people to subscribe, I'd love to hit 40K within this week, next week. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Watch on tape. All that kinky business, that was consensual, they say. Especially, when Diddy's lawyers could remind the jury of text messages from Cassie like this one, quote, "I'm always ready." But the feds say this wasn't kink, it was commerce, complete with a system and a playbook. And they showed dozens of receipts for flights and escorts and hotels that were paid for by Puffy's business. Jury was also shown what happened after that now infamous 2016 hotel beating video. There was a barrage of text messages to Cassie, Diddy writing, "I'm about to be arrested," which was not true, and "call me please," over and over and over again. Days later, he texted her, "Baby, I can't say it enough, I'm so sorry." To which Cassie responded, quote, "I still have crazy bruising from Friday. When you get effed up the wrong way, you always want to show me that you have the power and you knock me around. I'm not some rag doll. I'm somebody's child." Government also showed evidence of a cover-up behind the scenes. Staff members trying to scrub hotel security footage of the beating. Diddy's chief of staff, this lady here, Courtroom, texting an assistant, quote, "Say they..."
Everyone say good morning. This is their first time for them watching. Let's talk about it. Media 21. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We cover hot topics, trending topics, and we also debunk stuff. And we try and speak the truth. I don't have to be first over here. We just bring you what we can bring you, and we debunk stuff. Not to shade people, but I always try and listen to 3 or 4 different sources before I put anything out. So welcome, welcome. Yes, everyone say welcome. Good morning, everyone.
Had a fun, drunk night. And, quote, "he wants to talk to the Spanish security guard," end quote. And here is the list of hotel damage receipts.
Damage
$500
receipts.
for the drapes, $950 for deep cleaning, $46,786,000 for quote-unquote penthouse damage. I don't think I've ever seen a bill like that.
$46,000 in regards to damage to the hotel. Baby, that in itself, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. All right. That's something else. Okay, you guys, we're about to get to some more hot topics, trending topics. And we're going to listen what's going on and what happened last night. So let's get to it. Let me set it up. Fair use. There's about 290 something in the building. Please subscribe. We're bringing y'all to TTT the best way we can bring it. Let's go.
Were taken outside of the courtroom so that way they could have a sealed.
Let me go back.
But the defense isn't back.
Okay.
Highlighting missing messages, arguing his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura Fine, alleged victim number 1 in this case, that she willingly participated in these encounters, that this is not sex trafficking. And as the prosecution prepares to rest its case, the question remains, will this mountain of evidence be enough to actually convict the music mogul of racketeering conspiracy?
See, I'm wondering if there will be court today because I told y'all allegedly someone may have not been feeling well. So if that is true, I'll listen while we listen to this. I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't. Allegedly, there might be someone that's not feeling well in regards to the juror. That's what I had heard. but I've been doing other stuff this morning. So let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Well, to help break all this down, I want to bring on Law and Crimes in-court reporter Elizabeth Milner, who's been in that courtroom every day for every piece of testimony, including what happened today. Elizabeth, always great to see you. So, before we even talk about the testimony, a lot of preliminary issues about a juror or jurors, and also, is there something going on about a leak? Talk to us about these kind of issues before we even get into the testimony.
Yeah, well, court started a little bit earlier this morning. Normally it starts for the parties as well as us around 8:30 before the jury comes in around 8:45 and they begin testimony kind of around the 9 o'clock time frame. But bright and early this morning, the judge gets on the bench and his demeanor, Jesse, is a little bit different than normal. He seemed really kind of annoyed or kind of ticked off about something. And so what we did learn is that he was upset about this particular article that came out. Now, he was very tight-lipped as far as what media organization kind of released this article. We all kind of have our assumptions about what the article entailed. And it was a recent article that came out just about a jury issue. And the reason this is such a big deal, and just for everybody who's kind of, for everybody who wants to know more about it, why it's such a big deal, is because on Friday, all of us were taken outside of the courtroom so that way they could have a sealed courtroom, so that way they could talk about a particular issue. Now, at the time, we didn't know what this issue was, but we knew that it was kind of big enough for them to seal the courtroom down. Diddy was still inside the courtroom. Both parties were inside that courtroom, but all of the public, the court sketch artists, us and the press, we all had to leave for about a 20-minute time period, and then we were all let back inside, but we didn't know what this conversation was. But we believe it might pertain to this article that was released just this week about a juror getting a text message from somebody asking them if they were juror number 6. And as we all know, and as we've all been following this case, we know that juror number 6 was the one who was ultimately dismissed from the case just this week. But the question is, who was the source that revealed to the media organization what had happened during this, what was supposed to be a closed proceeding? So the judge gets on the bench this morning, and he says pretty much that somebody had spilled the beans. So he kind of confronts Maureen Comey, who is kind of lead counsel for the prosecution.
Fair use reaction clip. Let's continue.
And Mark Agnifilo, who was the lead counsel for the defense, kind of wondering who was the source of the leak. Now, both sides denied that they had any leaks coming from either respective camp about who gave this information to the media organization, who then released this in an article. And so the defense says they recently became aware of this leak, of this article that came out, and then obviously the prosecution was adamant that the leak didn't come from their camp. So the judge was kind of like, when he was on the bench, well, somebody's lying to me. It had to come from somebody because this courtroom was shut down. There was nobody in there except officials and doing official business. And so he said that somebody did violate the court sealing order, and then he said that he told Maureen Comey and Mark Agnifilo, again, prosecution and defense, that they're kind of on notice and that they should try to kind of find the source of the leak if it comes from their camp, and that the most extreme kind of action that he could possibly do.
So I can't confirm or deny if there is court today or not. Sometimes people will put things in comments and I have to be careful what I say. So I can't confirm or deny if that's the issue. I had heard before I went live, there might have been a health concern alleged in regards to one of the jurors. That's, take it with a grain of salt. Okay, so let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. We're just doing an update in regards to what happened yesterday, and let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Because he was taking this matter very seriously, Justin, where he said the most extreme action that he could take was just a criminal contempt charges. But the thing is, nobody knows who this source is. But honestly, Justin, I think what the biggest thing is, and kind of the biggest mystery that we all walked away from being in court today, was who was kind of the source of this leak, and possibly what kind of will end up happening in terms of any action that is taken by the judge. So that kind of remains a mystery. But what we do know is it has something to possibly do with the jurors. Something, and I say that very lightly.
Everybody, this is a law and crime legal alert. Did you know that children are for disease?
Survivors of LDS church sex.
Fair use reaction clip. Hold on one second. I'm trying to get updates on this side if something is going on in regards to court. Yeah, there might have been a slight concern. Pretty credible, but that's why I can't say solid, because you know me, I try and get it from 3 different sources. So I'm trying to see what's going on right now. Fair use reaction clip.
Especially as they were listening or watching the freak off videos today, but I could tell that it might have made them just a little uncomfortable, right? Because who wants to watch these types of videos in open court? And then as they're digesting it, surprisingly, they all kept a pretty straight face. But I will say, from that alternate juror who now kind of is in the main jury group, I should say, that I will say that it seemed like he was taking the headphones off pretty quickly. I think, the freak off videos and the sexually explicit videos might have been a little bit too much, especially for the morning time for these jurors to watch.
Understandable, I get it. All right, let's move on to witness testimony. So the only witness of the day today, right? Only witness was Special Agent And correct me if I'm mispronouncing her name, Dialisa Penland from the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Southern District of New York, continued her testimony from yesterday. One of these summary witnesses, when you have a voluminous amount of material, digital material, so video, text, sometimes you need a witness to kind of condense it, summarize it, give an overview of what it is, pick out the big parts into these charts, right? These summary charts. And one of the things that she testified to was the jury saw records for an escort named Jules, right? So what did we learn about Jules? What did those records show?
Well, for all the viewers who have been following the case, we know that Jules was the escort that was used, or that was also there during the Intercontinental Hotel incident in March of 2016. But as we've all been following this case, we know that Jules was somebody that Cassie and Diddy used kind of frequently in terms of their freak offs. And so what we did see was just some more records and summary charts, which isn't the most exciting stuff. But I think it's pretty interesting in terms of, the government really just kind of putting all the puzzle pieces really together in an organized chart, so that way the jurors can kind of be like, oh, we see this connects with this, this, and this. And so we saw an exhibit of that flight summary chart, specifically from dates including August 26th of 2009. So going back in time a little bit here to kind of the beginning stages.
Fair use reaction clip. Let's continue. Please subscribe to the page. Like the video as you guys come in.
Of Cassie and Diddy's relationship through August 28th of 2009. So they traveled, or the reservation was for a London hotel here in New York City. The names under it were Cassie, Sean Combs, and then Jules Theodore, aka Jules, aka the escort that Cassie and Diddy had used pretty often. And so what we did see was some flight records for Jules Theodore from LAX to JFK on August 26th of 2009, and then from JFK back to LAX on August 28th of 2009. And so what I think the government did pretty well is kind of connect the dots to even just things like the charges made on the American Express statement that the account holder was for Sean Combs. And so these dates ranged from the American Express statement that we saw as an exhibit was from August 26th of 2009 to August 29th of 2009. So again, those same time frames where we saw charges to the London hotel. The arrival was for August of 26th of that year, and the departure date was August 29th of that year. We saw a charge for Virgin America, the airline, for $419.61. We saw a charge to the travel agency, and that being a $50 charge. We saw a charge for even a limo service around this time frame for $227.70. And then we saw another charge to American Airlines, presumably.
Yeah, it's interesting.
For 400.
It's interesting how they're saying people's reaction, how they're talking about the videos, how they're talking about Diddy's reaction. There's just been a lot of controversy. And think about it. Things have been hitting the fan since there's been, 3 requests for a mistrial? Now all this other stuff is going on. 3 requests. Almost every other weekend for the last 3 weekends, they've requested a mistrial. The mistrial last week was in regards to the juror being dismissed. They didn't want the juror to be dismissed, but he was anyway. So there's a lot going on. And then in regards to if there is a leak on their side, that's a concern. And the judge making that known that he's not happy if there was leaks. And he's going to do an investigation. Period. He's going to do an investigation. So I'm not surprised about that. So let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. A lot going on in the courtroom, a lot going outside the courtroom. Yesterday, there was issues in regards to reporters, YouTubers, people in line. Because you got to remember, some people had been allegedly stating, will Kanye come back? Kanye's probably moved on. And maybe people were getting antsy because they were thinking, I got to get inside that courtroom. And some people are allegedly paying people as sitters so they can get into. There's so many spots for media and reporters. There's so many spots for the public. So maybe that's why people were getting a little antsy trying to get into the courtroom, not wanting to be in the overflow room. But everyone says in regards to the overflow room, you can speak a little bit, but you can't get out of control. You can speak a little bit, but you can't get out of control. So there was a lot going on in the lines yesterday trying to get into the courtroom. And if it gets too much out of hand, you got to be careful because you're at a courthouse. You don't want to go to jail, going back and forth with someone at any time. But police can say you're being disruptive. We may need to speak with you. So people better be careful. That's the wrong place to be disruptive. You know what I mean? Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
$19.60. And of course, that account holder being registered to Sean Combs. And so we saw the ending balance for that month, that being again August of 2009 for Sean Combs' American Express statement. And it was a lot of money. It was $218,000 and $353. So
that's a lot of money.
A lot of money, kind of nearing in that $250,000 range as far as just a credit card statement, just for the month of August of 2009. And then we saw some corresponding text messages too from that same time frame where Cassie writes to Jules, "Hey, how are you? Give me a call when you get this." Jules responds, "Did you two leave?" Cassie says, "Here's your booking locator." And then she sent kind of all the information as far as the flight goes. And then Jules said, "Thank you." Cassie says, "Have a safe flight." And then Jules responds, "Thank you and happy B-Day." And so there were just some more kind of similar summaries that the jury was able to see that really kind of connects the dots between the flight summaries to the American Express statement charges, and then even just the corresponding account numbers that kind of went into paying off that particular American Express statement, as well as records from the hotel, and then notes attached from the hotel reservation. So really kind of taking it piece by piece by piece. And I understand, charts aren't the most exciting thing, but it really makes a lot of sense when you kind of put it into the full context.
Wait, if you were a patient at any...
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Yeah, this mistrial, they're seeking a mistrial. They're running for that. They're seeking a mistrial. Real talk, y'all. That's what's been, and the judge is doing everything he can. Allegedly, they're saying the judge is doing everything he can. And he's trying to be so fair with both sides. The sidebars, the objections. It's a lot. I'm not surprised. We talked about it.
Transporting sex workers and alleged victims for the purposes of sex work. This is exactly the kind of evidence that you need. Transporting people, right? Transporting sex workers, alleged victims. It's also part of sex trafficking. There is a commercial element to that, right? There is a travel. ...
Yeah. And in regards to the jurors' concerns, in regards to the sidebar, in regards to the judge talking with the attorneys, in regards to the leaks, in regards to them constantly requesting a mistrial, in regards to updates on paperwork, judge puts in an order, those attorney has to follow those orders, period.
Component to that. So the payment receipts, the credit cards, the travel records, these are all so important. They're granular.
And like I said, because people are interesting, he's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. A judge jury is going to have to decide if there's any wrongdoing.
They're specific, they're data driven, but they're so important in proving these charges. What about this hotel stay for someone named Dave? How was that booked?
So it looks very similar, honestly, to...
Yeah, they need to wrap it up. But I think that's why there's so many distractions. Because there's almost 3 weeks left. Now, many people are coming in. It is reported that, and this may be why, I didn't think about that. The mule is supposed to hit the stand. What is the mule going to cover, you guys? The mule is supposed to cover what he was carrying. If you're a corporation, why are you focusing on substances? If you're a corporation, it's illegal to have certain things that he's having, right? The mule had certain things while he was with his employer, right? That's a concern. Any other business, if you hear that your boss got caught with XYZ, you would be like, what? You should have been smarter than that. Why would you travel with your employee? That employee should have been traveling by himself. If you're a corporation, you have substances and you're traveling with your boss, that might be why there's so much distractions. Real talk, because the mule is about to tell a lot. The mule is about to tell a lot. What he was expected to carry, allege, how he got, allege. If there's, and see, that's the other thing. Whoever wrote those scripts, okay, some of this can be street stuff. My page is a little different. Y'all got to work with me because I have to be careful what I say. That's why I keep the greens. But if I show y'all stuff, I get the yellow signs. Some stuff could have been street stuff, okay? It's being alleged that certain stuff was subscribed by different doctors. And allegedly, the co-workers would take turns getting those scripts. So the mule's about to drop and tell it all. You know what I'm saying? So that's a concern. You're a corporation and you're focused more so on FOs and substances. Not really the industry. Maybe that's why they didn't want to focus on people in the industry. You know what I'm saying? But there should have been more in regards to ex-girlfriends and more in regards to bodyguards. I'm side-eyeing that some of the bodyguards didn't show up. I'm side-eyeing that the last two girlfriends didn't take that stand. Real talk. Side-eyeing, yeah, because they should have brought it. And I think they allegedly did cut their list. Someone earlier this week, Monday, Tuesday, went a little bit longer, and people were like, we're over it. Jane. They were saying Jane went a little too long. So that might be why there's certain distractions, because the mule is going to bring it home in regards to the substances. I wouldn't be surprised.
Rules is kind of records too, where we saw the flight summary exhibit, those for the dates of September 15th of 2014 through September 17th of 2014. And so we saw that the reservation was at the Four Seasons Hotel in Los Angeles. So instead of New York City, it was in Los Angeles, and the reservation name was for a person named Eli Maroon. And what we know about Eli Maroon is that he's one of Diddy's assistants. And so the names kind of corresponding with this particular time frame were Sean Combs and Clayton Howard, aka Dave. Now, what kind of stood out to me, honestly, Jesse, was that Cassie's name wasn't in this kind of list of names. But then I kind of thought about it around this time frame that they wouldn't need to fly her out, mainly because she already lives in Los Angeles around this time frame, or also possibly that it wasn't her in this hotel room. So you could really kind of see it both ways, but really just the names that we saw attached to it were Sean Combs and Clayton Howard, aka Dave. And so the flight records were for Clayton Howard from JFK to LAX on September 15th of 2014, and then from LAX back to JFK on September 17th of 2014. So just departing just a couple days later. Then we see a charge, or the American Express statement charges.
And you got to realize, you guys, so many secrets have been suppressed. People were scared to go to the police. People were scared to go to the hospital. People were scared to keep records of certain things. So, in regards to the mule taking the stand, wouldn't you think that they want to suppress and delay and ask for a mistrial if they can get a mistrial? They knew, this is the thing, they know who's going to hit the stand. The attorneys know who's supposed to hit the stand and allege you who's supposed to hit the stand, when they're supposed to hit the stand, because they got to get them there to travel. So now if there's another delay in regards to the mule hitting the stand, that's interesting. I tell y'all this all the time. People are now saying it more. Watch the play. You got to understand a situation, what, why, how. You got to understand celebrities, Hollywood, certain people are very crafty. They've been crafty. It's just in them. They street smart and smart. So you got to watch the play in regards to all the mistrial requests, distraction. This is a concern. Let's have a mistrial. This is a concern. Let's have a mistrial. Oh, we feel that the young lady gave the alleged wrong date. Her testimony should not be admitted into court. Allege, let's go to the Kid Cudi situation. Allege, the prince allegedly is a woman, not a man's. Who's to say they didn't set that up? You understand? And then the judge is trying to be fair on both sides. He's trying to be fair on both sides. And this is the other thing. If they know who's supposed to testify, that young lady, in regards to the balcony situation, she should have been looking up the dates in regards to, could it have been this date? And in her mind, if they're constantly using substances, they might have confused stuff. If you're on substances, you may think certain things happen at a certain time. And the judge was basically saying, everyone needs to remember they were on substances. It could have happened. That's what the judge was basically saying. It could have happened prior to him going to the award ceremony. Because remember, allegedly Diddy was performing. So when he allegedly did the balcony situation, they're saying he couldn't have been in two places at once. And that's the biggest thing. When the people are supposed to hit the stands, it's the lawyer's responsibility to say, okay, you had a concern on this state. Let me look up where he was on this state. You had a concern on this state. Let me look up and see if I can find out where he was on this state. People on YouTube are doing better investigations than some of these lawyers. And that's why we're like shaking our heads like, why would you not look that up if knowing that lady, biggest part of her testimony will be in regards to the balcony? And wait, catch this tea, Paris. When the young lady is talking about the balcony situation, there's concerns there too. In regards to Cassie's lawsuit, people are stating this location. And in regards to the person regarding the balcony, she's stating a different location. So there's discrepancies there too. That's why I listen to certain people, because they're going to bring me full circle about stuff. And that's why he's saying, and I get now why he's saying the balcony lady testimony should be thrown out, because of how Cassie talked about it in her lawsuit and how she talked about it in where she was. I think there was concerns in regards to even the location. Allegedly, the date was a concern and the location was a concern. Watch the play. That's not good. And I was like, wow, I wasn't really listening to him for a minute because he's kind of ammuted. Certain people, their energy, if they're kind of too animated, I can't do that. I need you to get down to the facts. I don't need you doing this and that and walking and you talking about other stuff that don't pertain to stuff. I need you to stay focused. Hello, stay focused. So I have a hard time watching people that can't stay focused and can't get straight to the point. So remember how I told y'all that each person that takes that stand, they better have their facts right. We talked about that. They better have their facts straight, because if you were on substances, it's easy even for that person to look up where Diddy was. So there's a lot going on. I need these lawyers to pay attention, do their job, and do it well. They have paralegals that's supposed to look up stuff and pay attention to stuff. Okay, this person's testimony, let me verify where he's at. They have paralegals that's supposed to make sure stuff lines up. And this is the biggest thing. With this general leak that's going on, I don't blame the judge being upset, because there was already issues Wednesday. There was already issues Thursday. And then we had Kanye show up. A lot going on, y'all. And I pay attention to stuff for y'all just so I know what I'm talking about and I don't sound dumb. And that's why I do the best I can to make sure I check references in regards to. And they read Cassie's lawsuit. And then they talked about what happened in court. So they cross-referenced it for me. They had the lawsuit in their hands. And then they had their notes in regards to court. A lot going on. Fair use reaction clip. Let's get back to the video. So certain times when I think of stuff, I have to tell y'all. And see, that's the other thing in regards to, let's go back to the Kid Cudi thing. Why wasn't the prints matching? Why wasn't there recording from other neighbors? See, I told you my page is a little different. I think different. Why wasn't Kid Cudi's cameras working? Even if they were moved. What happened to the neighbors' recordings? And who put the fire out? Who put the fire out in regards to Kid Cudi's car? And remember how in Kid Cudi's testimony, he allegedly gave them a print and turned it in. And that print went missing. Baby, why are you taking prints? Why didn't they take their own prints? So much interesting stuff. And you really got to pay attention to a lot of stuff that's not making sense. So, of course, once he gave that print up, Kid Cudi, once he gave that print up, he didn't think he needed to save it because he's giving it up to the police. So in certain situations, y'all, you got to keep a file. You got to keep a copy. Even if you think they still have it, you got to keep it. Because maybe that's something that Kid Cudi should have brought. And how is it? See, they're crafty. Of course, the prints probably didn't match, but who put out the fire? And remember how the cocktail was thrown in the car, but then when they got there, it was out of the car. So of course somebody touched it. Whoever removed it out of the car, that's going to be the prints that possibly, I can't confirm or deny. But if the cocktail was thrown in the car or under the car, then the cocktail was out of the car, that might be the person prints that's on it. Baby, innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I can't confirm or deny. A judge or jury is going to have to decide if there's any wrongdoing. I say it all the time. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Where the Four Seasons Hotel around September 15th of 2014. And then we also see a charge for Journey Corp Travel Agency for $50. So that is the travel agency that's been used to kind of help book a number of flights or hotels too. And so then we see an exhibit of 5 different bank accounts that help paid off this American Express card statement. And the accounts were assigned to Combs Enterprise, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Productions, Finance Department. And then you see the records from the Four Seasons Hotel, where the reservation again being under Eli Maroon. The arrival date was for September 15th of 2014, the departure date being September 17th of 2014, and the room rate being about $495. We see a payment for American Express with the account number that's assigned to the cards that Diddy had, and then we see the contact name under this particular reservation, or this hotel record, I should say, from Christina Coram. And so just another thing that's kind of attaching her. So it's kind of pretty sad that we're not seeing her being called as a government witness per se, or possibly even a witness altogether. We just have to wait and see. But under the reservation notes for the Four Seasons Hotel, it says Mr. Eli Maroon asked for a room to be added to his reservation. And then we see a travel invoice for Bad Boy Entertainment, and the passenger being Clayton Howard, aka Dave. So again, these are just some of kind of the way that the government was presenting these types of summary charts, where it's really just the flight summary chart, kind of putting it all together, and then really taking it again piece by piece, really connecting the flights, because the defense can really be like, okay, well, how do we know that the people there were actually there at the specific time frame? And so they did what they could under cross-examination. I know we'll talk about that later, but in terms of just what the government was doing, I feel like they kind of did a pretty good job in really just putting.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Parrish. You know, I'll be doing stuff on the back end and looking at stuff and evaluating stuff and looking up numbers. So thank you, you guys, for all that subscribed this morning. I can see that more people have subscribed. I thank y'all. We're definitely trying to hit 39K. So continue to subscribe, everyone. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
It all together and really kind of laying it out in a very kind of layman's type of way, so that way we could all kind of understand and it clicks right there.
Fair use reaction clip. Fair use reaction clip. Let's get back to the video. Let me let that commercial go past. Okay.
That way we could all kind of understand and it clicks right there.
Right, because when Cassie testified or Jane testified, they would talk about alleged sex workers being transported to X, Y, and Z. This obviously corroborates their testimony, but now you can actually, exactly like you said, you can pinpoint it. You can link Sean Combs, you can link the money, you can link the travel, and that is key here. That is key. So it was introduced by the alleged victims, and now they're really trying to, finalize it and really make it crystal clear for the jury.
Okay, I'm on Instagram. It is saying from TMZ, Diddy trial canceled Wednesday after a juror comes down with vertigo. Alleged. We got to take it with a grain of salt in regards to TMZ. Now, I'm hoping this juror went to the hospital to get a proper record. That is what is really going on. Make sure you document stuff, because I had heard alleged they went home. They should have gone to the hospital if allegedly that's what's going on. Yep. It was canceled today. So I'm looking up TMZ. Okay. Let me see. And well, they asked for a mistrial because it was canceled today. So now the mule, once again, is not going to take the stand. Now it's being reported from US Weekly, Diddy is saying, will Diddy take the stand in his own defense in the New York trial? Do you think he'll take the stand? Oh, Kanye has Bianca out and about looking away. Kanye has Bianca out and about looking away. And then they're trying to make it look like Bianca's trying to copy his ex. I ain't even going to say her name. Of course, it doesn't seem like the kids, some of the K's and the J's, it doesn't seem like some of the fathers saw the children. There wasn't a lot of pictures. There was a lot of pictures regarding the mothers. So the K's and the J's, are they taking over the father role? I was wondering if we was going to see the men with pictures. It seems a lot that the women are with the children, not the fathers. I was wondering, and I said that to y'all. Fair use reaction clip. Let me see what else. It's being reported allegedly. J-Lo drawn into the Diddy trial allegedly, as videos are shown. So I don't recall J-Lo being a part of that. They've been mentioning that it might have been Cassie. People are talking about Bianca. Bianca, 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 girl, you got to speak up. You can't let your man have you out and about that way. Mm-mm. Nope, 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 nope. But it's also being reported that Kim allegedly showed an interesting picture. So we're just talking hot topics, trending topics real quick. We're getting into a few things. Yeah, court was canceled today. Not surprised. That mule should have hit the stand yesterday, but didn't. Should have hit the stand today, but didn't. Delays, delays, delays. Distractions, distractions, distractions. Mm-hmm. And it's expensive to have them in town. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm about to refresh to see if there's anything else major that's going on. And you know what? I don't take that as a bad thing, you guys. These jurors have gone through a lot. They're taking the stand, they're on the stand for hours. There's a picture of Quincy, Sweet 16. Aw, R.A.P. to Kim Porter. Aw, Quincy's hugging Lauren London. She shows up for Sweet 16. Aw, Quincy was so young, y'all. And like I said, I feel for his children, real talk. I feel for Diddy's children. They're young. They still want to be able to live. And Quincy has been such a good big brother. We don't hear a lot of drama issues in regards to Quincy. I'm just doing hot topics, trending topics. Of course, Diddy's there. Many people are out there. Quincy's there. I guess Lauren London, marched in with him. Lauren London's older, but she's just showing love. Diddy's, wishing him a happy sweet 16. Okay, we're just talking hot topics, trending topics. You guys heard in regards to what happened to Mr. Kelly, you know, interesting. Mario Lopez allegedly people are trying to serve him, and he's basically walking away. So there's concerns there. Yeah. And remember, in regards to Tyler Perry, he just recently came out with a movie. So he's been doing a lot of press lately. Hmm. Chrisette Michelle, she's trending. She's been diagnosed with something. I'm general when it comes to people's health. Paris is so used to me. I talk in code a lot, so you got to be able to keep up. But y'all figure stuff out because y'all look up Instagram just like I do. Let me see. I'm about to refresh. But yeah, court is canceled. So I'm not surprised in regards to certain pages probably aren't going live, or if they might have did a quick live and they're going to take the rest of the day off. There are people that are live for 5 and 6 hours. We're live for maybe an hour or two. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm wondering if Kanye spent time with his children and what's going on in regards to Kanye custody battle. And as he try to utilize Diddy for media attention, clicks, and views. Okay, 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 okay. Is there anything else? We're just talking hot topics, trending topics. Mm, okay, everybody. Okay, this is a big one. I was supposed to cover this. I might screenshot that later. It's being reported Bravo might cancel Housewife entirely, and they may mean of Atlanta. I told y'all Bravo don't paint those women in a good light. They're not focused on a healthy relationships, healthy marriages. Bravo love if you have legal issues. Bravo love if you can't get along with people. Bravo love if you take somebody else's husband. Bravo loves the chaos. So if they cancel the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I wouldn't be surprised. If you did not know, it's being reported that Brit is trying to sue Bravo for 20 million in regards to the Kenya issue. Kenya should have been smarter than that. Kenya's a bright woman. whatever was alleged, whatever what was shown, Kenya has a daughter and a family. She should have been smarter than showing alleged what she showed, what was alleged. She should have been smarter than that. She should have been focused on her building, her daughter, and uh, Kenya would not want anybody to put that out of her or her daughter. So sometimes you got to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. I'm not a big fan of Bravo. I'm not. I'm not a big fan of Portia and what she did in regards to the Simon issue. Right now, she's about to get 40K. Not a big fan of Candy in regards to what Candy was doing on the show. Not a big fan of what Portia did on her Portia family values. You want something to watch? Go watch Portia last 4 episodes. So concerning. And then when they had where things were thrown, I'm gonna be general. When things were thrown, the next day, Portia was basically telling her family, "Don't talk about it." And that's the interesting thing. Bravo almost celebrate you if you have almost bad behavior of something that's going to bring you ratings. The housewives are taught to trend and go viral. And it's almost like you take it outside of the TV, then you bring it into your natural life. And there's so many different concerns in regards to legal issues, divorce issues. So if the show is taken down, good. Something that's not healthy for families or relationship, there comes a time when it's removed. There comes a time when it's removed. And same with that. Bravo is alleged reality stuff, but people don't look at it as this is unhealthy. And they act like it's cool what's happening on those shows. It's not cool because it's unhealthy for families. So many different divorces, so many. So many that people can't even keep count. So many legal issues. And the disrespect. Kenya's situation wasn't the first situation in regards to Bravo. Let's make that very clear. Kenya was not the first. So Kenya's trying to say, well, this show over here did something similar. You can't think like that. You got to protect yourself from legal issues and legal concerns. And people were in awe, allegedly, of what was shown. Whatever transpired should have been smarter. So if there is a lawsuit, I won't be surprised. Okay, you guys, I have some major stuff I have to catch up on and do. And since court is not in session today, I'm sure a lot of people are going to catch up on some things they need to catch up on. We did try and talk about Tyler Perry yesterday morning. I can't see the comments. Let me go out. We did try and talk about Tyler Perry yesterday morning. So go check out that video. We covered a lot in regards to Tyler Perry. Let's see. Nope, don't want to edit. Nope, don't want to do that. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, so we did cover the trial situation twice yesterday, and then we covered the Tyler Perry situation. So go look into that. We covered a lot over the last few days. The videos have been doing extremely well. Like I said, I did try to go over to StreamYard to just do a video to see the difference in regards to pay. That's still a concern for me. And if I need to start streaming from StreamYard. See, I need to copy that. Okay, so everyone, focus on healthy, safe relationships. Be around people that's loving, kind, and respectful. I hope everyone does well. Has a great day. It's Wednesday. It's supposed to get extremely hot depending on where you are, so be safe. Try and get some personal fans. I wouldn't want people to be not comfortable sometimes when it's really hot like that, sometimes the power goes out. So I am stacked and prepared with neck fans, smaller hand fans. Baby, I don't play when it comes to protecting the fam. And they don't play. Like I said yesterday, got a lot of groceries, did a lot of running around. We're about to do some yard work. So that's going to be fun. And I like to keep busy. I do. I like to help. So Sometimes they'd be like, stop making us look bad, sit down. It's like, this is what we do. I like to be out and about, you know? So yeah. I hope that everyone's doing well. Thank you, Paris, for being here. Can't see the comments, and I don't want to mess with that because I need that, what's showing right there. But yeah, I can't see the comments right now. But I hope everyone does well. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Don't think I'll go live again today. It'll probably be in the morning, unless there's some major breaking news. It might be 3, 4, 5, 6. If I do go live, I have so many things I have to take care of, and I've been up since 6. At some point today, I do need to do my shorts. I haven't done my shorts today. I could have did that at 6 and 7. I could have did that, but yeah. So I appreciate you all for being here. I hope there's about 159 in the building. Please subscribe to the page. Please subscribe to the page. We're trying to hit 39K by next week. We're trying to hit 39K by next week. And we're trying to get to 1 million. Our page, I'm looking at this right now. Almost in every month, we're getting about 1 million views. That's major. So proud of myself. Yes, I am. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. Focus on healthy, safe relationships. Be around people that's loving, kind, and respectful. Everyone, be blessed. Goodbye. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Bye.